Hey, in lieu of the weekly this week, we're actually going to talk a little bit about vision. We're going to be doing the series on Friends, but we just feel like you need a lot more freedom happening in your pods, and Paul is going to talk to you more about that. So here's Paul.
Hey, it's me. Just wanted to take a couple seconds, maybe a couple minutes, and tell you a few things just from a vision standpoint about pods. We realize that you guys are in an interesting spot, and we do our best to set you up for the weekend and what you do during your pod time. However, we know there's some major challenges and kind of like a process of discernment that you have to go through every single time you walk in the room. Some of the other challenges are we're dealing with kids that are all the way in, seniors in high school, all the way down to 7th grade boys. And believe me, I know how hard 7th grade boys can be. I deal with them actually every weekend this last few weeks. So here's a couple thoughts. What we do for the weekend, and I'm standing in this room where all the creative process actually happens for the content. There's a lot of effort put into what we do for the weekend, believe it or not. And we think that the Spirit actually works in that process. And we think it's very important that team gets together of pod leaders and staff and different people that contribute to the content. And the Spirit actually does work in that process. So when we bring stuff to the weekend, we think it's important. Now I want to flip to the other end of the spectrum. So we give you stuff. Sometimes it's up on the screen. Sometimes it's on a printed material. Sometimes we just give you directions from stage or whoever's teaching. All of that is the content kind of that we prepare. When you get in your pods, we realize that you might have a crazy kid that had some issue this weekend and they want to talk about it, or you might have a bunch of kids that don't want to talk at all, and you've got anywhere in that spectrum of kind of like, okay, I got the next half hour, what am I going to do? We understand. So what we need you guys to understand is that you're supposed to follow the Spirit on this. And when I say follow the Spirit, sometimes I know that could be like, what does that actually mean? I understand that. If you have questions about that, talk to somebody. Talk to one of your leaders. Talk to somebody from staff. We can walk you through that. But what kind of break it down is you're going to have to discern what the best thing is for your group that morning. So when you look at the content and you say, hey, there's some questions, or there's something up on the screen, or man, he just told me to do something, I'm not really sure how to do that with my boys or my girls. That's the awkward moment of discernment. And this kind of what we wanted to say is, one, you should be praying in advance and saying, hey, Spirit, I need you to show up. This is a tough moment for me every week, and I need to make some good decisions. And two, you're going to have to act right in the moment. And that's why we give Dime Awards, and the things that we've done in the past is like people that have shown, hey, I can act in the moment and succeed with these kids. So one example, this past weekend I was hanging out with junior high boys, 7th graders, and this is tough. Actually did 2 different pods, the 10 and 11:45 to sub because we're low on leaders. And I had to do completely different stuff because it was just required with the group of kids that I had. One of them, we said, hey, these kids don't even know each other, and the best possible thing, better than all the content, better than all the stuff that they put on the screen, the best possible thing is actually sit with them, talk to them about what they want to do outside the weekend. So we sat down and we voted, and we came up with ideas and brainstormed, and we decided, hey, we want to go play paintball. Pretty simple. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go email some pod leaders and get some paintball things together. And I just spit. I'm a little like Brian Tone right now. This is crazy. So we're playing in a paintball thing. That was the best use of our pod time, because I saw in that moment that community was way more important than teaching them the content that was kind of presented from stage. Then at the 11:45, we actually we went around, we used every single bit of the content that was kind of proposed to us, and we went around and we talked about all the every kid talked, and they weren't really chatting a whole lot, so I came up with a version of like, hey, here's a question, everybody's going to answer it, we're going to go around, and it doesn't matter if you want to talk or not, that's what we're going to do. So those are 2 examples. I realize I've been around CSM for a long time, and sometimes you feel like, hey, I don't know how to do those things that you just said. that's when you come talk to us. But the main point that we want to get across to you is you have a lot of freedom with these kids, and if you don't feel comfortable following the Spirit and kind of doing what you need, throwing out the questions if you need, or using the questions, or using the content, come talk to one of us. This is the most important thing you can kind of understand for your pod time each week, and we think it's a very important time. And if you're getting stuck, come talk to your service leader. We want to help you. But you have a lot of freedom. We want to make sure you have the freedom, and that's kind of it. If you have questions, please talk to your service leader. This is going to be vision around pods ongoing. As long as we do pods, you're going to have this same kind of freedom. So I hope that helps. And if you have any questions, like I said, talk to your service leader, talk to one of the staff, shoot us an email. We're happy to chat. Okay? Thanks.
Hey, I think you heard Paul just say that we are low on leaders right now. We feel like we have less than what we need to really make sure that we have a leader with every group of kids every weekend. And I just want you to know, ideal is that we have 3 leaders with groups of 20. And so if that's not what your pod looks like, you're short on leaders. That way, when you're not there, there's still leaders that they consistently see that they can connect with. The answer to that is that we would really love for you to recruit. Could you let your friends know? It's one thing if they hear it from staff, but it's something else if you say, hey, I serve here, I really love it, and I'd love for you to come do it with me. We've got some of our best leaders that way. And so I just wanted to throw out part of the solution to what Paul was just talking about, as far as having light leaders on the weekend, is you guys. So please think right now of one person that you could maybe ask to come serve with you in CSM. All right, we'll see you next week. Thanks.